Hi, this is Ali Ellis, and this is my presentation on psychoanalytics. It really focuses on Freud, and in Freudian theory, the human mind is structured into two main parts, the conscious and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind includes all the things we're aware of or can easily bring into awareness. The unconscious mind, on the other hand, includes all the other things outside of our awareness, all of the wishes and desires, hopes, urges, and memories that we aren't aware of yet continue to influence behavior. Freudian psychology compares the mind to an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg that is actually visible above the water represents just a tiny portion of the mind, while the huge expanse of ice hidden underneath the water represents the much larger unconscious. In addition to these two main components of the mind, the Freudian theory also divides human personality into three major components: the id, ego, and superego. The id is the most primitive part of the personality that is the source of all our most basic urges. This part of the personality is entirely unconscious and serves as the source of all libidinal energy. The ego is the component of personality that is charged with dealing with reality and helps ensure that the demands of the id are satisfied in ways that are realistic, safe, and socially acceptable. The superego is the part of the personality that holds all of the internalized morals and standards that we acquire from our parents, family, and society at large. And so sorry, my cats are going crazy behind me. Freudian theory suggests that as children develop, they progress through a series of psychosexual stages. At each stage, the libido pleasure-seeking energy is focused on a different part of the body. The 5 stages of psychosexual development are the oral stage. The libidinal energies are focused on the mouth. The anal stage, the libidinal energies are focused on the anus. The phallic stage, the libidinal energies are focused on the penis or clitoris. And the latent stage, a period of calm in which little libidinal interest is present. And the genital stage, the libidinal energies are focused on the genitals. The successful completion of each stage leads to a healthier personality as an adult. If, however, a conflict remains unresolved at any particular stage, the individual might remain fixated or stuck at that particular point of development. The unconscious mind played a critical role in all of Freud's theories, and he considered dreams to be one of the key ways to peek into what lies outside our conscious awareness. He dubbed dreams the royal road to the unconscious and believed that by examining dreams, he could see not only how the unconscious mind works, but also what is trying to hide from conscious awareness. Freud believed the content of dreams could be broken down into 2 different types. The manifest content of a dream included all of the actual content of the dream, the events, images, and thoughts contained within the dream. The manifest content is essentially what the dreamer remembers upon waking. The latent content, on the other hand, is all of the hidden and symbolic meanings within the dream. Freud believed that dreams were essentially a form of wish fulfillment. By taking unconscious thoughts and feelings and desires and transforming them into less threatening forms, people are able to reduce the ego's anxiety. Freud often utilized the analysis of dreams as a starting point in his free association technique. The analyst would focus on a particular dream symbol, then use free association to see what other thoughts and images immediately came to a client's mind. According to Freud's psychoanalytic theory, all psychic energy is generated by the libido. Freud suggested that our mental states were influenced by 2 competing forces, the cathexis and anti-cathexis, and I might be saying that wrong. Cathexis was described as an investment of mental energy in a person, idea, or object. If you're hungry, for example, you might create a mental image of a delicious meal that you've been craving. In other cases, the ego might harness some energy from the id, the primitive mind, to seek out activities related to desire in order to disperse excess energy from the id. Sticking with the same example, if you can't actually seek out food to appease your hunger, you might instead thumb through a cookbook or browse through your favorite recipe blog. Anti-cathexis involves the ego blocking the socially unacceptable needs of the id. Repressing urges and desires is one common form of anti-cathexis. The Oedipal complex is a term used by Sigmund Freud in the theory of psychosexual stages of development and is the generic term for both Oedipus and Electra complexes. The Oedipal complex occurs during the phallic stage of development, ages 3 to 6, in which the source of the libido, the life force, is concentrated in the erogenous zones of the child's body. During this stage, children experience an unconscious feeling of desire for the opposite sex parent and jealousy and envy towards their same-sex parent. Envy and jealousy are aimed at the father, the object of the mother's affection and attention. These feelings for the mother and rivalry towards the father lead to fantasies of getting rid of his father and taking his place with the mother. The hostile feelings towards the father lead to a castration anxiety, an irrational fear that the father will castrate or remove his penis as a form of punishment. To cope with this anxiety, the son identifies with the father. This means the son adopts and internalizes the attitudes, characteristics, and values that his father holds. The father becomes a role model rather than a rival. Through this identification with the aggressor, boys acquire their superego and the male sex role. The boy substitutes his desire for his mother with the desire for other women. The Oedipus complex is successfully resolved when the boy begins to identify with his father as an indirect way to have his mother. The Electra complex is a term used to describe the female version of the Oedipus complex. It involves a girl between ages 3 and 6 becoming unconsciously sexually attracted to her father and increasingly hostile towards her mother. For girls, the Electra complex begins with the belief that she's already been castrated. She blames her mother for this and experiences penis envy. As a consequence, girls' identification with their mothers is less complete than their boys with their fathers. In turn, this makes a female superego weaker and their identity as separate, independent persons is less well developed. Also, other psychodynamic theorists such as Erikson believe that Freud exaggerated the influence of instincts, particularly the sexual instinct, in his account of personality development. Erikson tried to correct this by describing stages of psychosocial development, reflecting the influence of social, cultural, and historical factors, but without denying the role of biology.